What up, y'all? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. If you don't know, it's NXT Bonnerfide Wednesday. If you don't know what that is, you definitely have to stay tuned to see what I mean by that.
I'm Crush from WoW Women of Wrestling. I'm the gatekeeper of WoW, and you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
What up, y'all? TK Trinidad here for the Wednesday's edition of WWT Live. We have a lot to talk about, and I am not alone. She is, I want to say she's coming in from the streets, but that's somebody else.
Queen Bee of WWT, Wrestling with Honey Whip.
Honey Pop Predictions.
What do you do, honey? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Happy Wednesday. I absolutely love that video.
Shout out to our official producer, Dylan, and all the way from Australia. And I think it's going to be an all girls. I'm sure one of the boys are going to just hop in late as usual, but we're starting off with all girls, which is great. We have
from
Courtney
New Jersey, WWT resident AEW expert Courtney and J11.
Yes.
How are you doing?
That was too cute.
I love these intros. Work, Dylan.
That is. Shout out to Dylan for that. He actually made sure. He's like, did you set up the intros? It's like, yes, I did that. So thank you. Shout out to Dylan for that. But let's get into it. First off, we'll start off with the sad news. Today is September 11th, which is crazy to think about. Do you guys remember where you were at that time?
Absolutely. I
Yes.
definitely remember where I was. I think a lot of us remember where we were that day. Of course, thoughts and prayers to everyone who lost someone, and shout outs to our first responders and such. Yeah, I was in 8th grade when this happened. I was in 8th grade, and I remember being taken out of school early, getting signed out, and then they made an announcement over the PA system, and everybody gradually the whole school was just getting dismissed, and
Right.
we couldn't get in contact with anybody. So I was just home with my siblings and my mom, and we were just seeing what was happening on the TV, and it was just so crazy. It was such a wild time. So I definitely remember where I was. I was still living in New York as well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, because both of you guys are like on the East Coast in the New York area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that must have been a totally, different experience from, other people who are in different places of the country.
Yeah, for sure. It was pretty wild.
Courtney?
It was very wild. I was actually in 5th or 6th grade, and I remember I got pulled out of school early because they asked me that my brother and my sister would pick me up. I had no idea what was going on, and my mom actually did call my siblings to pick me up. And when I saw it on TV, because as a kid you weren't even sure, but just seeing that destruction in New York City, it's very, very devastating. I've actually had a lot of my friends who were affected by this, and still to this day it's very heartbreaking to see the news, but I just remember to this day. And I remember a couple years ago, it was during my history class, they were actually showing a speech that George Bush made after 9/11, after he made it, after the whole destruction, and just kind of really reflecting on it, but at the same time moving forward. But that memory at that point I will never forget seeing it on TV, the whole destruction, and just sending love to thoughts and prayers to everybody that's affected by it, our first responders, and it's definitely a day I will never forget.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember seeing, the one thing that I really remember was it's a catch-22, because you saw like all the footage, and there was where the guy had the umbrella and he literally just jumped out the building. Like,
Oh my God.
that stuff is like crazy. And then also, it's a catch-22 because you want to remember, but then the people who were like affected by it, where they let like family members passed away and stuff like
Of
that,
course.
now they like you're like almost forcing them to remember.
Right.
So I really wonder how, people who have family members, they lost family members to this event, how they feel being constantly reminded every single year that this happened, whether they like it or not. Like I don't know. So
Yeah.
I'd be curious to when I'm sure I'm gonna there's so many people are affected. That was a question that just kind of came up today because you're constantly like every year, so I'm curious about that. But definitely, our first responders, we definitely have to thank, and they came in again for us during the pandemic, because the pandemic was a scary situation as well.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, with that situation though, a lot of people who were first responders, firefighters, police officers, and the like, they, a lot of them didn't come out, unfortunately, but they went in, saving someone or saving people, or going in to help, and just to even have that kind of bravery speaks volumes about a human being. I know Zelina Vega, actually, shout outs and thoughts and prayers to Zelina Vega. She had lost her dad at September 11th, unfortunately. And it's just, it's like remembering any death or grief, but it was just on top of that, such a huge tragedy within, for as a whole nation, just to see and to witness something crazy like that happen. I can't even begin to believe the emotions and the mixed emotions, but she continues to push on through wrestling, because that's what her dad liked, and supported her through it. And every match she does was for him. And that it was, I think it was earlier this past week when they had a sign of with her dad's name on it, and it got her really emotional. I think it actually kind of like made her almost break character a little bit. But we send our thoughts and prayers to everybody who was affected by this. It's definitely something you don't want to remember, but you can't forget. And we'll never forget what, how we had to come together emotionally throughout that whole tragedy.
So we have, I guess this is Dylan's new name, the real DM Hunk. I've been to the memorial 3 times now, and every single time I go there, I have an out of body experience. Actually, it's really interesting because I didn't know. Actually, I can't remember the last time. I remember the last time I was in New York. I wouldn't say that's a touristy thing, but now that you say that, I'll definitely put that on my to-do list. I didn't know they had a whole memorial thing there, so definitely check it out. But shout out to Eric also in the chat. JD, I think you're still with us, or you're watching our NXT post show that was going up before we started this. But speaking of NXT, let's get to it. We did a watch along, and we did a post show yesterday. So a lot of things transpired. So let's what are the main things, because near and dear to our heart. We had a sighting. For people who know me very well, I love knowing all the tea. I don't spill all the tea. So I actually knew that Professor was going to be at NXT, and we had a sighting of Professor.
Yes,
losing his mind.
NXT Bonnerfide. It has been manifested, and I am here for it. I was just like, the Leonardo DiCaprio gif of, whoa, like I know who that is. I see him there. Like at first I wasn't sure if it was him or not, and then they did the close up. I was like, oh my god, look at Professor.
Yeah, on multiple, like he I guess
cameos.
The cameras loved him. With that being said, what did you guys? I mean, a quick wrap up, because again, we did a whole NXT wrap up. What do you guys think of NXT last night?
I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty decent. There was some moments. My favorite moment, obviously, one of my favorite moments, excuse me, was the in-ring debut of Julia. Finally, it's something that we've all been waiting for, and it was such a great match with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green made her look like $1,000,000, and she sold the shit out of everything. Like she was just doing so good. And Julia looked great. Julia looks very comfortable. She looks, pretty much fully recovered and ready to go. And I can't wait to see what else she does.
Courtney?
I actually didn't watch NXT. I know, but I DVR'd it, and I actually plan on watching it tomorrow. But I did hear it was a good show. I definitely would have watched the watch along because there was a few funny moments in the post show. But it's
Oh
always
my
nice to
gosh.
see. It's always nice to see the professor on TV. But I have to watch the watch along, and that
Yeah.
is on my list to watch tomorrow.
The watch along was a hot mess, y'all.
The watch along was quite fun. It was fun to watch.
Hot mess. I was thinking that I was just going solo dolo because I couldn't find Will, and Will just pops up, and then we had a unannounced appearance by said, I guess, to defend Lola's honor. So it was the watch along was a hot mess, and yeah, we're gonna be doing more of those. They are quite fun. And we have one happening tonight, so you guys definitely want to check that out. But something that also came through NXT is Wendy and Jordan Grace. They're going to be having a match at Victory Road for TNA, but they had a little bit of issues at NXT last night. So how do you think this is all going to play out?
I honestly think that, first of all, I love this match. I think this is going to be a really, really good match. I think it's going to get a little gruesome here. I would just advise Jordan Grace to watch out for the pillow swing. You never know what's in it. But Jordan Grace, not for nothing, that was another moment. First of all, Jordan Grace last night looked absolutely amazing, and she killed it.
As per usual.
Yeah, right. Like it's nothing less than I would expect from the Juggernaut, like she was just everything and more. But this rivalry with Wendy, I think it's going to be really good. It's going to just be a really good, gritty one-on-one women's match. It's going to be, it's going to be a really big test though for Wendy too. I would say this is probably her biggest challenger yet, since she's been this gimmick. And I'm totally here for what this match is going to bring. I think it's going to be really wild.
Yeah, I mean, it was what were you gonna say, Courtney?
No, I said this is gonna be a fun match because looking at the photo and everything else, I feel like this is gonna be a fun rivalry and match to watch, especially on a TNA pay-per-view. That's also exciting too, and also continuing that partnership because I want to see more NXT people be on TNA. That's exciting. I would love to see that because Dak, he's the X Division champion, and he was on NXT last week.
What are you saying? Dylan saying 628K viewership for last night. Yeah, I thought it was a great show. I thought it was a great show as well. I mean, with the storyline as far as sacrificing Sol Ruka, I feel like we should have kind of gotten an end. We should have received an end to that, but it pushed another story forward. So we'll see what happens with that.
Timu Bloodline was shocking. I actually was shocked.
Was it shocking though?
I was shocked. I was not expecting to see them up in there. Not like that.
Really?
Just bum rush the place. I was not expecting it, honestly. I know they did just piggyback off of what they were going at it with the Street Profits and all that stuff, but I wasn't expecting them to actually show up on NXT soil. Like I think that's the part that was shocking to me the most, but that was really cool. That was also really cool too.
I feel like this is not gonna be the last that we see of them. I feel like we're gonna see random things that don't necessarily make sense to us. I don't know. I'm really, obviously you guys, I've spoken about it ad nauseum. You could just put them anywhere. The storyline can be.
It writes
anywhere.
itself.
Yeah.
They looked amazing.
What's Bosa saying? Timu Bloodline felt like an Do you think it was improvised? I think TNA requested that the Rascals don't work last night. Zach had to defend Friday versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Speedball is getting his rematch.
I'm sure he still could have. I mean, with everybody doing double time and triple time, look at Pete Dunne, Like I'm just saying, like there's no reason. I don't know.
Man.
Maybe it's just me.
I don't know.
I mean, Could we see a Timu Bloodline at TNA?
That'll be wild.
That would be unexpected.
That would make the indie folks go crazy for sure. That'll be wild.
And do you guys think this, like, we did have a packed show, they were throwing a lot of different things on NXT. Do you think it was in direct competition with the debate? Like, I said it on the live stream, but I legitimately don't think, and you know, maybe Courtney, you can speak to as the PR person. I feel like two totally different audiences. Also, you also referenced it too, Courtney. People can DVR or record NXT. So if they really want to see the debate, like, it's one of those things where you can see one or the other because we have this magical thing called record. So I don't think it was. I don't think WWE was like, oh no, the debate's coming up. We need to.
No.
How can we? How can we make people not watch the debate? I don't think that's what happened, but you know, let me know.
No. I mean, wrestling will stop me from watching anything else. Honestly, I'll watch wrestling over anything any day.
Yeah,
especially a debate.
I mean, the debate that I got to see bits and pieces via social media. I mean,
same.
That felt like wrestling too, though.
I was gonna say it might as well have been the same damn thing.
I actually watched the whole thing last night. I was watching it because it's like I have to watch it because I said, let me DVR NXT. I have to watch this debate. Let me watch it. And it was just a whole thing. And I'm just like, get your popcorn ready. And a few of my friends were watching it. And I said, yeah, I kind of feel like this is like a wrestling heel versus face.
Totally.
Not to necessarily pick sides because we're definitely not a political channel, but since you watched it, Courtney, who came out victor? Who was the winner?
I'm gonna have to say, because I'm gonna say Kamala Harris. The way she spoke, the way she addressed the audience, and the way she said, "You're not talking to President Biden, you're talking to me," because he kept addressing her as Biden, and I'm like, he's not here, Putin's not here, I am here. She's here, and she put out a reason why. Like, of course, there were some things. Okay, there were some things like, okay, she might have said not every single point, but the thing that actually I noticed was some of the policies that she put in. Like, she explained like little bits of it. She didn't have to explain everything because I'm sure like her PR team or whatever talked about this many times. And she like dabbled on what she wants to do. And the closing statement was she was directing to the American audience, like the people at home, the people in Philly. She was kind of directed at them and having that eye contact. So, at Kamala Harris just kind of she just did it. Like, she looked like she knew what she was getting into, but
yeah, it was her it was her mannerisms for me. It was always it's always like her. Like I'm just like she's so over it. She's so over it.
The thought process. Fun fact: this is not to piggyback. This is to piggyback off of Cedric's comment, but not really. Cedric saying people. I wasn't calling people broke. I did give a fun fact yesterday about Nike, and I also have a fun fact about Kamala Harris. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I actually interviewed Kamala when she was senator.
Oh,
wow.
So,
and so yeah, it was crazy. Like trying to learn her. Like now that you know her name is common, but like when the producer is telling me their name, I'm like, okay, yeah, it was a situation. I need to try to find the clip. It's probably like blurry as hell. You are correct, Dylan. Sitting in the Commonwealth, which I'm considering I'm moving back to. But yeah, so with this particular match, let's go back to this TNA match that's happening this Friday. Who do you guys have for this match, Jordan Grace or Wendy?
I mean, I'm going with the Juggernaut. I'm never going to bet against the Juggernaut. Even I'm here for the Wendy Chu vibes, but I would also make sure she looks over her shoulder because you know her and Rosemary have now formed an alliance. So that might bode something tough for Jordan Grace, but I think she's going to be fine, and I think she'll still come out as the victor, retaining her title.
Courtney.
it's hard to go against Jordan, but like upset alert. I just think maybe Wendy could be the one to do it. Jordan has been a really great knockout champion, but I feel like this is going to be our toughest test. And as Honey, you mentioned, Rosemary's in the corner lurking. So, and Wendy could play mind games with Jordan. So it's going to be very interesting. But I have a feeling upset alert with Wendy.
How would that play out though? Because even though there's this Forbidden Door crossover that's been crossing over for the last couple weeks and months, if Wendy were to win, because a lot of people are saying, which I do agree with, but I feel like Jordan has such a stronghold on the TNA women's knockout division locker room.
Mhm.
If Wendy were to win, do you kind of envision like a Wendy Rosemary thing happening and Jordan kind of, okay, she lost the belt and now she's kind of fully into NXT? Like, how would that all play out?
That would be interesting.
Because it's like if Jordan loses, then Wendy is the champion. She's an NXT.
Yeah,
but
she's TNA knockout champion.
So how does that play out logistically? Like, obviously, okay, she's like, there's so many factors involved, and then where does Jordan go? And that's like the good and bad thing with a situation like this, because you're assuming that Jordan's gonna win, one, based off of her. Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm assuming Jordan's gonna win, one, based off of her dominance, and two, because she's a TNA knockout.
Literally.
Literally going up against an NXT superstar. So I'm assuming that, but if that doesn't happen, that's a huge swerve. And how does that all play out?
Oof. I mean, if they were to go a swerve route, I would definitely think that they would give Jordan a contract to NXT, and then you're talking business picking up, especially now that they're transitioning into CW. Julia has just resurfaced. Roxanne's still champion. You have the Kaylani North American champion. Like the women's division there is going to be set, especially if Jordan Grace is there. And honestly, they kind of hinted at it earlier this year when she did make her appearance, and you know how they had all the girls surrounding her. She's familiar with a lot of the girls in that locker room, Jada Parker and such, even Sol Ruka, since they just had their match, Roxanne, of course. But yeah, I mean, if they were to go the swerve route, I would assume they would give Jordan Grace a contract in NXT, or maybe just have her go, hop, skip, and jump into all three brands and just work it.
I'm so curious, and I don't expect this to air, or maybe it is somewhere, what the logistics on like contract wise look like. Like, does she get paid per appearance plus an additional appearance plus a bonus because it's WWE? Like,
wasn't there some news a couple months back that we covered a little bit that had to do with her contract, like not her contract, but when she would be on NXT and how much she would get paid, maybe for those first couple of appearances that she did, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, Bosa let us know. I'm sure Bosa has that in a file somewhere. Sindel saying, here's what I think. The reason everything is getting mixed in this way is because NXT is becoming the third flagship show and TNA is becoming the fourth. The developmental territories are ending. We talked about that on the watch along yesterday, and although I don't mind that idea, I still want NXT to maintain its individuality and its identity. And the moment, like, I feel like there's going to be a point in time where this partnership, and mind you, if they're all making money, that's great. Like, who am I? But I feel like there's going to come a time where it's almost like when we had the AEW TNA partnership or New Japan. Like, there's going to come a time where they're going to take a pause and it's going to just be all things TNA, all things NXT. If we continue it where it's just an ebb and flow of different TNA superstars going back and forth between NXT and vice versa, then I think the lines blur, and it now essentially, without saying it, becomes a WWE property, and that spells monopoly. And for everything that happens, every empire, everything in life, whether it takes 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, 100 years, there has to be a down.
Right.
So, we experienced some of the down periods with WWE where they were legitimately the only brand. And it was, during my AfterBuzz days where it was literally just like covering it was just sometimes it was a nightmare because they just didn't have any stories. Right. So now when you have a little bit of competition, I think it breeds creativity across all platforms. It forces people not necessarily the fake TK's approach where it's just like, I want to be number one, because it's hard to do with something like a WWE, but be inspired and also try to think outside the box so you're getting a certain part of the audience. So I hope it, I don't know for it to be a fourth brand. I kind of hope it's like a one-off, a couple of months, and we're gonna see. I do like the fact too, where I think I said this last night, where for instance, Chelsea Green, where they noted, I think a couple weeks ago, of Chelsea Green's tenure at TNA and stuff like that, where WWE now is acknowledging things outside of the WWE universe.
Yes,
but there still has to be a little bit of church and state. I feel. Oh wow, y'all coming for me today with my internet. My internet was fine. That was just Will.
It cleared up. It was fine.
Will's not here today.
It was Will.
I'll let Sindel and you and Dylan could discuss that. Also, some more women's action. So Naomi, she takes the win for the Speed Championship on Twitter, or X. What do you guys think of this? And do you think that with this World Championship that's happening on X, there's going to be some longevity to it? Meaning that, remember when they had the mixed tag team championships? They've tried different things, and everybody's open to try different things because some stuff sticks and some stuff doesn't. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this? And who do you think is going to be the winner
between Io and Naomi?
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the Naomi revenge tournament, if you ask me, considering, Blair Davenport, now Io Sky, and she has history with Damage Control, considering that, they were messing with the big 2 out of 3 with Bianca Belair and such. This is going to be a nasty match. And honestly, it's so terrible because these matches are so short. In like a short span amount of time, like this match should actually be a banger on a PLE. But but between these two, I'm gonna have to go Naomi. I think this is the Naomi revenge tournament because Kairi Sane, I don't know how she's gonna pull it off, but she might. And then you have Naomi versus Kairi Sane. She just gets rid of them all. She should become your first women's speed champion. I think that would be awesome for her. I would like that for Naomi to go all the way. So she's my pick all the way.
Oh, that's going to be a banger, Io versus Naomi. And it's nice that Naomi's getting her chance to shine because I'm just happy she's back. She's doing her action. It's going to be interesting against, I don't know, Kairi Sane and then Piper Niven's going against Candice LeRae. So we'll see what Naomi does. And it's going to be very fun. Also, you know what? I think she should win it all the way. She deserves a title. She deserves to go all the way. Let the big 3 all have their titles.
Let's go.
There's that.
Give the big Grease some gold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for those who know, I've always been Team Naomi, so I think this is a good thing for her. She can take it. I guess the next question is, do you think that there's some legs to this speed division? Like, are we going to continue seeing this, or do you think it's kind of running its course once they kind of finish these different iterations of championships?
I honestly think this is something that maybe possibly doesn't have to run its course. Maybe on X/Twitter. We like to call it Twitter around here. I still call it Twitter anyway, showing my age, but whatever. I think that somehow they should incorporate the speed tournament into one of the shows at least, or feature it on a show, on one of the shows, and have the tournament like throughout the week, Friday on for the superstars that are on Monday and on Fridays. I mean, I think that would be a great addition. It would also be a great way to add more women's matches in there. But I wouldn't want anybody to complain about the matches being short, because it's obviously called the Speed Championship, the Speed Tournament. So these matches happen in a short span, but it'll be like, kind of like the cruiserweight, kind of version, but it's like done in tournament form, like more so within the night. I think that would be something really cool if they incorporate it outside of X, because I would like to see it on TV.
Yeah, it would be nice to see it on TV, maybe on
Or maybe
SmackDown.
Saturday Night Main Event, since they're starting Saturday Night Main Event.
Yeah, Saturday Night Main Event. That would be really good to showcase them, because I always hear chatter saying it's a good match, but it's like, oh, it's only on Twitter. I'm still gonna say Twitter. I'm still gonna say
Yeah.
it. But it just would be nice to see the matches on TV instead of seeing it on just Twitter. And especially it would be nice if because I don't know if Raw or SmackDown does it, but it would be nice for them to show like highlights of it, because they always talk about it so much and they
Right.
promo it. It would be nice for them to show highlights of it.
And also the champions could be seen on TV with their championships, like it won't just be looked at like a consolation championship, or, if for those who want to go back to how it felt with Ricochet in certain instances, it kind of felt like, okay, he's not good enough to win any of the other championships like he was before, but you give him a speed championship just for a temporary, like short amount of time. But I would want it to be showcased a lot more. Oh my God, Cindy. Cindy. So you think so Cindy thinks that Lola's going to be the next speed championship challenger.
I'll let Sed take that. Said
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, there's that.
I mean, it is offering another. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, here comes for those listening and aren't able to view what's going on. There is a trouble amok in the chat between the
Will,
mayor.
where are you? I thought you said you were coming on the
Oh man, and now the councilman is in the building. Oh
Wow.
man.
Oh boy.
I
Man,
think
trouble now.
it may have legs. I think Jeffrey noted something. I don't know whether it's true or not. Elon wants it exclusively on Twitter, which is a good play to keep it on Twitter. I do think they should do some highlights, but if it's short matches, how you do your highlight of a short match. So that there is that. You can see how WWE always references Twitter as far as numbers, retweets, all that stuff. So I don't know. I would be curious as far as the back end analytics, as far as how many people are watching it versus how many people just get, oh, because it's a short match, you don't really necessarily have to watch it per se. You just know who won, who didn't, stuff like that. So I'm wondering how many eyeballs this is bringing.
But it sucks because it's like I want to be able to see some of these matches because they're good. They're like really good matchups,
Right?
Like things that should be on PLEs.
So maybe
like
maybe that's
Sky and Naomi is a banger.
MDB 999 saying he watches it every week. Maybe, but that's the thing. It's like I wonder how many people they're bringing in, and I wonder if there's like a test period. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know. Always when they try something different, I'm always kind of like, okay, that's interesting. What else do we want to talk about? Oh, ROH.
Well, we have. Well, yeah. Let's talk about ROH.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily ROH per se, but
no, not necessarily.
This is gonna be another interesting. I think what's happening now, which is a great time to be as far as a wrestling fan, the dream matchups that we've wanted to see maybe like 10 years ago, which we thought would never happen because there was no crossover. right? We're starting to see these dream matches now.
Mhm.
So this is a good thing about, you know, the Forbidden Door being kind of essentially blown open. So what do we think of this? So Maple Leaf Pro, Canadian company, owned by Scott D'Amore, Giselle Shaw versus Athena happening. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, I think this is pretty big. This is a big deal. I think this is something that, you know, just add it to the list of banger matches that the Queen Athena is going to be a part of with Giselle Shaw. She's like, this is going to be, I would say, I would consider Giselle Shaw to possibly take this title off of her, but I love Athena so much, so, and I'm a little biased for Athena, but nonetheless, this match is going to be pretty cool because considering both of their histories, especially Giselle Shaw, you know, with her history in Impact and everything like that. Yeah, but is she going to be a threat, a strong threat for sure? Yeah, I think this is just going to set the tone for a really good matchup for these two women.
Well, what do you think is going to happen? Because Athena's been killing it. I think she had posted like 620 days or something like
right.
Could she legitimately take an L even though it's not ROH? Could she legitimately take an L? Or, you know, do you guys think it's gonna be just a great match, but she's definitely winning?
Oof. I don't know about her title reign coming to an end at this one. I really don't. I think it's going to be a tough match for her, for sure. It's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a lot of she's going to need a lot of strength that day. But and it's yeah. No, I'm sticking with my guns. I'm saying Athena. I don't think it transpires any other way. She's just going to find a way to win, possibly continue on a little bit. I think her reign is coming to an end a little closer to the end of the year,
though. So I love these little back and forth. So Giselle Shaw said on X, step 1, she wants to win the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, and then step 2, run the division. And so the thing is, like, Athena, and there's also shout out to for my folks who watch WoW, but you should, Coach Campanelli. There's like some people who have like either great writers or they're just really great at these witty comebacks and remarks. And Athena's like really not having it. She's like, you can't be serious. So you have to definitely go and check it out on X. But I don't see her dropping. I think it's gonna be a great match, but I don't see her dropping. And this is the good and bad thing about this is the good thing about the Forbidden Door. Things like this could happen where she does drop, right? And it could be a little bit of crossover, especially with ROH. But then the lines are not as like, you know, defined.
Right. It's like she doesn't really, I mean, unless there's history with somebody else who she's probably had, you know, a match or two with like a while ago that maybe, I don't know.
Y'all been asking about these pets. I'm trying not to fall into.
My pet is fine.
My pet is fine.
For those who are wondering, mine is just fine. She's just sitting outside the door waiting for me to be done.
Oh my gosh, it's like pets and Shannon Sharp they're the ones who are trending today. And
oh god,
always love your pets. I love my pets.
I love my pets. Always have, always will.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to your pets.
Shout out to Michelle. Yo, I can't. Today's been a very, very interesting.
The middle of the week, man. It's the middle of
the week, but it's like when you combine wrestling with the debate, with trending of pets, and then, you know, Shannon Sharp's alleged hacked video, where I guess you can get the long form on Twitter and the short form on Instagram. It's only Wednesday.
Oh my god!
Wow! I'm gonna gonna have
They're
to
just
screenshot
bringing it
that.
in the chat today.
Wow, wow,
Bringing
wow.
it. I'm loving it.
Good Lord. So, but now talking about that, so I think we can all agree that Athena's probably going to take this win. We might be wrong, but I think we can all agree on that. Who and when do you think Athena's going to drop? Or do you think, I mean, yeah, but like, how do you think this is going to play out?
You go ahead, Courtney.
No, because I'm thinking a lot about this because she's Ring of Honor.
And it's
I mean,
sorry to break you, cut you off. It's 640 days she's been champion. So
wow.
today is 641 because she posted that yesterday.
Damn, girl.
Woo!
Damn.
Wow, that's awesome. She has been a wonderful Ring of Honor Women's Champion. I would not be shocked if any of the ladies from AEW, because there are some ladies that come to AEW and Ring of Honor, it kind of crosses over. Like, I know Queen Aminata, she had a match a couple weeks ago, and then you see Red Velvet starting to come in.
Well, Red Velvet's champ now, right? She's still a champ. She took the championship from Billy Starks. So Red has the championship. As far as I know, she still has the championship. I thought that Queen Aminata would have been a great person to take the belt off of Athena. And when that didn't happen, it was like, okay, well, what are we doing? What are we doing now?
Yeah.
And I have to go back and watch. I think I'm behind ROH by about 3 weeks because of travel. So I need to kind of catch up on that. But yeah,
you got
It's just,
I'm trying to think about her match history as well. I'm thinking about like Hikaru Shida or like let me see, I'm trying to think. Yeah, or maybe somebody new that she hasn't faced, even maybe even Athena versus, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Don't get too excited, Mayor. Mercedes Monet. Even, I'm just saying, like, I
Triple
don't know.
Belt Monet.
Hand me down Monet. That's all I gotta say.
hand me down Monet.
Somebody put in Anna Jay, who, by the way, she was in Stardom. She wrestled in Stardom, so that could be another thing. Anna Jay.
Maybe. I mean, you can. How do we? And let us know in the chat. So here's a question: how do we think Mercedes Monet is doing in AEW? Do you think she's moving the needle? Damn, honey. Do you think she's moving the needle, or do you think this will be? How will the history books remember this AEW version of Mercedes? Damn. Cue the crickets.
I'm just looking at these comments right here. I'm looking at these. Oh.
Remember what? Remember what? Remember what?
Y'all.
Remember what? I remember Sasha Banks. I don't think Mercedes Monet is anywhere close to that level of her, like of that stature of Sasha Banks' stature. I just don't see it. I haven't seen it. I just been seeing a lot of hand-me-downs, just hand-me-downs. Yes, she got money. Yes, she's the richest woman in wrestling, but does that make you, is the thing that makes you it? No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I've seen more done with Tony Storm this whole year than Mercedes since she's arrived. So I'm gonna need some more from Mercedes.
I'm not. I would like to see her in more. I would like to see her in a legit rivalry. I did enjoy the match between her and Hikaru Shida at All Out. I thought it was solid. It's just for some odd reason it was like the third or second to last match of the night. But I mean, I would like to see her in a rivalry that could make sense, that doesn't have to feel rushed. I know with they tried to do a Britt Baker and it was neither of them's fault. I do think she could have a rivalry with Sheeta because her and Sheeta said some interesting things right before their match. So that could be something that they could build on because I would like to see that. But I just think she needs to get a like legitimate rivalry. Even for New Japan Strong Women's Champion. And also Willow didn't even get a rematch. She did not get her rematch.
Well, yeah, that's so
I'm not feeling it.
Both are saying Mercedes got a lot of got a lot of pass. Honey reaction is my reaction. She is getting a pass, especially from London. People are blaming Britt for the match being ass when it's Mercedes' fault. Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that are in play. I feel like essentially what you guys were both saying is that there's couple things may or may not be happening. I think Jeffrey or somebody in the chat had asked if with the contract that Mercedes signed, she has creative control. And if that's the case, I feel like you could still have creative control and create great matches. Who said, oh God.
CE, no. CE, no. Instead of like this, it's CE, no.
Y'all.
No.
So I feel like it's all the story. Like her reign could be salvaged if we have some great storytelling, and I think that's not what's happening. We're just kind of, it's almost giving it's like you have like a pet or a child and you give them everything they want, and then they just turn, it doesn't turn, the situation never ends well, because now they think they're deserving of everything versus being humble and working for whatever, the praise, the food, the new game or whatever. Yeah. And I think we all know that Mercedes came in with a very good contract. We all know that the fake TK has money to essentially do whatever she wants. And I think maybe what we're seeing is wow. Maybe what we're seeing is the results of that, giving her everything she wants versus really kind of making her cook in certain things. Said you can go and your check will be held until you come back. How about that?
Damn. You know he'll respond now. He ain't going.
Savage.
You start messing with the pockets, it's a problem.
Oh my goodness. What else we got? Well, do you think that if they were to have a legitimate match between Athena and Mercedes, how would that come out to play?
If they had Mercedes and
Athena.
If they had Mercedes versus Athena, it'd be exactly how I said it would. It would be a hand-me-down, another championship, because I'm the richest woman here and I will make sure everybody sings my stupid song, and I'm just gonna go like this.
Wait, did you not take a picture of Mercedes or no?
I was dressed as her, but I was dressed in as far as flattering Sasha Banks, not Mercedes. You know, like it's not. I respect it, but I'm just waiting for her to bring back Sasha somehow at this point, because Mercedes ain't it. It ain't hitting.
Bosa saying Athena actually cares about making her opponents look good. She even lets jobber opponents get their stuff in. She said that on Chris Van Vliet's show. We'll see. I think what I've spoken to quite a few people. I think the thing is, with Mercedes' legacy, we'll remember the Sasha Banks, and depending on how she ends her legacy, this may be just a blip, or this might be a dark side of the ring situation. So we'll see how it all how it all pans out with that.
Bobby raises a good point. He said, I would have Athena win the NJPW Strong Women's Championship against Mercedes Monet, as opposed to us saying the other way around, where she takes the Ring of Honor.
I That's
And
another question too.
it would be a big upset. It would be to
Yeah.
dethrone Mercedes, or even if she put all the titles on the line, like if they just put titles on the line and whoever winner takes all, I could see a kind of situation like that.
And here's the thing, art versus what you truly want. Do you think Mercedes, if she does indeed have creative control, do you think Mercedes thinks that Athena would be worthy of taking her titles?
Well, she definitely has creative control. We definitely know that. Yeah, there's just, and it shows. But I would hope that she would have that respect for Athena, considering I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember if they've had history or if they ever met up in NXT when she was Ember Moon, or was Sasha already on the main roster at that time? I'm not sure, but Boza might have to check that for me. But if you can, but I think if I were Sasha, I would be totally looking at Athena with the respect of, yeah, you are absolutely a worthy opponent to at least take one of my titles or all of my titles, or I take yours. I would definitely hope so.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with that. What else we got?
Some interesting words came about from MVP in regards to Bobby Lashley. He was questioning why Bobby Lashley couldn't be placed into a Brock Lesnar type spot, for basically helping to make the new guys or put them over in WWE, especially after everything that transpired with the Beast earlier this year, and now that he is no longer with the roster. He went on to say that that Bobby could have totally been in that spot. What do you guys think of what MVP said? And as soon as I try to find a quote of what he said, what do you guys think of these words? And do you think that totally could have been the case, where if Bobby Lashley was still with us, he could be that Brock Lesnar type guy?
I think it's definitely possible, but the thing is that what Bobby wanted? Because it's like oftentimes you have people who, and we see this all the time. I'm more referencing like basketball. You have people who are great basketball players, but they're terrible coaches. So it could either be you don't want to deal with the personalities, or these new the new generation, they don't have the same type of I don't know, respect or whatever as the older generation. Like it's very dependent. So the question is, one, was he offered that? And did WWE feel like it'd be a right fit, or did Bobby just want to go off on his own? And because there are conversations where people do leave, but the conversation is like there's more of a choice. We can either let you go and you can chill, and we'll call you back when we're ready, or you let you go, do your own thing. The door is always open. So I think those are the things that we need to note. And I believe Bobby has done an interview since he's got let go. So I'm sure Bosa or Professor would know if he had made reference to that, because sometimes when you get let go from WWE, it's you're blindsided. So the question is, was he made aware before it actually happened?
Well, apparently MVP was speaking with KNS WrestleFest, and he gave his take on how WWE should have used him. And he went on to say that that apparently, according to him, the Bobby Lashley's age kind of came into play with with WWE and how ultimately they were going to end up utilizing him. He went on to say, quote unquote, "You want to go with fresh and younger talent. I get that. However, he still couldn't make sense of WWE's decision to take Lashley out of the title picture. He still looks better than everybody on that roster. He's in better shape than everybody on the roster. He can literally kick everyone's ass on the roster." And he went on to further explain that um Bobby is the Black Brock. Why wouldn't you use Bobby? And this is quote unquote. Why wouldn't you use Bobby in that position and make guys on the way out? Triple H retired when he was 49 or 50, but Bobby just turned 48. And, he went on to pretty much talk about that. I think what Bobby really wanted to do, and I think that what they had tried, I think what they were going to stick with was what they had tried to do initially, and that was try when they had put Bobby Lashley with the Street Profits, and they were going to try to recreate them into a new, different kind of Hurt Business. Like they were more serious. He had them dressing in suits and things like that. But after a while, it just went into a different direction. I think if they would have kept that going and had done a better job of trying to convince the audience that to believe that the Street Profits were turning heel and with Bobby Lashley and this was going to be a new faction, like you could have taken them on a whole nother level and maybe even added someone else in there, like maybe Cedric Alexander, you know what I'm saying, and recreated a whole evolution version for Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, and all of them are great athletes, but I don't think Lashley's age ever came into, like, I don't think anybody's age should come into play at all anyway. When people are ready to be done, they're ready to be done. Nobody said anything with Undertaker. Nobody said anything with Ric Flair, and nobody's saying anything about Dory Funk Jr., who's 82 and in death matches, for God's sakes. So I don't think an age should ever come into play, because you like, that's when things get complicated. It's not about their age, it's about if they can still go, if they're healthy and they're still able to be able to train properly and stay on top of it and be disciplined enough to stay in great shape. And Bobby Lashley was consistent. He's looked the same since he arrived. Like he's looked the same since the 2000s, and I believe they could have ultimately used him and put him in the championship title picture as well. I'm not sure what happened, but I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to be able to see how well MVP and Bobby Lashley try to convince Creative and Triple H about how they could move forward with Lashley, but there's other ways they can go about it. There could have been other ways that they could go about it. But I think, Lashley could have been used differently. And he definitely could have been that Brock Lesnar type of guy. But I don't, like you said, Boss Lady, I don't know if that's necessarily what he wanted. Maybe he just wanted to be the strong, silent beast that was just messing everybody up and just wins the championship. And he's the guy you got to take down, and goes on a long title reign all by himself because he's the almighty, But
and Brock Lesnar is 47 years old too, by the way. So I mean, we could spin this 100 different ways till Sunday. I think the couple questions that I don't want to say need to be answered, but I would be curious about is, one, if that conversation was had, or was this a conversation that was had without Bobby there? Because we have somebody like a John Cena who's hitting 50 and they're giving him a whole farewell tour, right? And that's very clear that the conversation was had, and John Cena is going to be moving more into the backstage of helping folks, right? I'm really hoping that conversation was also offered to Bobby as well, and he decided to make the choice that I don't want to go into that direction, because if not, then that's definitely an unfairness, especially somebody who's been in the game for so long. And like you were saying, honey, like, looks amazing. He has like a vlog out on his channel. Looks amazing. Like there are 25-year-olds that don't even can't even touch this man. So
still looks the same. When he first debuted.
Yeah. So I think those are the questions that we probably won't get the answers to. But I'm just hoping that it was more of a choice versus being forced out. So we'll see. Only time will tell. And of course, there'll be a biography or a dark side or some type of you know something about it. Eventually, we'll hear
I hope
more.
not a dark side. I don't want to see that.
Well, not a dark side, but
No.
But
more of a.
you're talking about the Vice documentary, Dark Side of the Ring. Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
I'm talking about that, but I'm hoping there's not going to be a dark side where Bobby's concerned, but more of like I'm more curious, and I don't think, because people probably will find these like the little things boring, but I'm more curious as far as contracts are concerned,
Yeah.
and those conversations in the writers' room, and all those storylines that wrestlers pitched that never got made. Like there's a whole bunch of like the stuff that we see on TV versus the storylines that are pitched to writers and producers all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and the politics behind it. Like there's certain storylines that could be great storylines, but the politics behind it doesn't make the cut. So I'm more curious on those things and the logistics of contracts, and for instance, how a John Cena is in the position that he's in, and what he didn't or did do versus somebody like a Bobby Lashley or whatever.
Right.
So those are the things that I'm interested in, that I hope that when you get a bio on Bobby, that there's going to be, there's going to be some clarity as to where he is now. And also, too, you never know. They might have an idea for him. Like, it didn't seem like WWE's not effing with them anymore, ever. So we'll see what happens. Dylan saying the booking was bad for Bobby and the Pride. They should have been full heel and tour. Yeah.
I'm just glad that like they never announced them as the Pride out loud, because I just didn't
It was kind
like
of
that name
annoying.
for them. I felt like there could have been a so much better name. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They could have had a different name for that stable, especially at WrestleMania. I'm like, they could have had a different.
Something more intimidating, more aggressive, more Bobby Lashley, more almighty, like the Almighty Prophets. Like,
oh, that would be
something like that. I'm just spitballing. Like that could have been so much easier, and they probably would have had a better shot at getting over with the name and going at the Final Testament. If also, that's the other thing, they had Bobby Lashley's crew getting whipped by the Final Testament every week. And it was just like, all right, we're getting sick of this a little bit. Like after a while, I was doing a couple of Friday watch-alongs, and I was just like, I feel like I've seen this match like 5 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And then with that being said, we did touch on it a little bit on the watch along yesterday. The Street Profits. What do we think is happening there? Or what can we do? Or what are the suggestions? Because it's the Street Profits of today is not the dominance of the Street Profits of yesteryear. And it's only been less than 5 years.
Which I also think, but honestly, which I believe honestly, that's why they brought them to NXT as well. That was a pleasant surprise, and obviously we know that they're tag team veterans in NXT, but that match didn't end. That match didn't end properly, so they're definitely gonna. I don't think this is just a one-off. I think it might be for now, and maybe this is where, because I mean, right now is about that with that whole situation is with about Nathan Frazier and Axiom, and it's about them getting put over. First, they dealt with the OC, then they were dealing with all the tag teams in NXT, so they had everybody on them. Then you had the Rascals, and we saw what happened with that situation. And now you have the Street Profits, and the Street Profits are reigning tag team champions of yesterday, but. Can they do it? Can they do it? I mean, they've always been hinting at Axiom and Nathan Frazier, possibly splitting up, but that's not happening. I think this only solidifies their tag team reign even more if they end up beating the Street Profits. I'm not sure what's happening there, but I think I think this is just a little one-off situation. But they're definitely gonna have to run that match back because it was good.
Sindel saying something interesting that has been said many a times from different folks. I just have to say there has been too many great Black men mistreated too many times. The lack of Vince didn't change it. Um, I mean, we have to see who's in the back. Who's in the back? Like, it's not
Yeah.
all Triple H making all these decisions.
Yeah.
Is there bias?
I
It
hope
looks
not.
like it.
I hope
but-
not. And also, I'm a big advocate when it comes to tag team wrestling. I really want to see tag team wrestling get legitimate storylines because I
Mhm.
feel like for tag teams, they just get pulled into different frays. And it doesn't matter if it's WWE or AEW or whatever. I want to see tag team wrestling, not only wrestling, but give them a legit storyline. The thing that pissed me off last week because, okay, you had the Street Profits, you had DIY, you had them going against the Bloodline, and it's just like had them drop like flies. And that kind of made me angry a bit because you're going up against the top two babyface tag teams, and one of them should be aligning with Cody, which that would make a lot more sense, and that would give him a boost. And also, you'll be watching my watch along in AEW because I will be talking about the tag team division later. But that's the thing that kind of pisses me off because I want to see tag teams get that legitimate storyline because there are good tag teams. It's just
really good
what's
ones.
there.
Really good.
It's
And on
just,
all three brands. A little
it
bit
just
more
makes me
shine for the tag teams.
it just makes me angry they're not getting shine. And also, I don't think it's a bias thing with racism because in the past, Vince says he hates tag team wrestling. He said this in the past many, many times. He does not want to give tag team wrestling an opportunity. A
He
Triple
hates
H,
tag team
maybe.
wrestling and he hated factions.
Yep, exactly. So Triple H, maybe he likes tag teams. I don't know because maybe they need to figure out like what storylines can they do to tag teams. Just figure it out. What can we do? How can we push him in there?
We shall see with that. I don't. Yeah, that's like I wish how they have like Big Brother. That's what I wish they'd have. They have a channel just dedicated to just you have cameras and all the stuff beyond, like all the stuff that happens behind behind the scenes. I would watch that because I want to see what goes on in the writer's room. And I mean, clearly that's never going to happen because that's just HR violations waiting to happen. Yep. Not to say it's a thing, but in a writer's room, there's it's almost like a HIPAA type thing. Like you're spitballing different ideas, and if they were to actually get out, heads may roll. Like some jokes are not always funny amongst the rest of the world. But for me, if you could just give me that link, I won't even tell anybody. I'm just curious. I'm just saying. I mean, I'll take another job.
Yeah, seriously. I'm with it.
Yeah, no. I would be in. I would be all in on it.
Hit me. I got that reference, Courtney. Got that reference.
Yeah.
What else do we have? I
don't know. I think that's it. I mean, we do got a DM Hunk. Thank you, Dylan. We do got a preview Dynamite for our producer. So we should get into that. And of course, the lovely Courtney Rice is going to be doing the watch along for this evening. We got AEW Dynamite tonight. Let's see. This is pretty much the backlash from and the fallout from All Out, the pay-per-view. It's going to be in Lexington, Kentucky, on TBS, and we got things going on like Jack Perry versus Leo Rush. We have Mariah May versus Queen Aminata. Shout outs to Queen Aminata. We also have Ricochet versus Sammy Guevara. I think that match is going to hit. John Moxley also set to appear. What's going to happen with him in the situation with Daniel Bryan? And we have a tag team casino gauntlet, which, of course, to Courtney's point earlier, was saying that, push them tag teams. And she's going to be talking more about those tag teams tonight for her AEW Dynamite watch along. Anything you guys interested in looking forward to seeing tonight in particular?
All I have to say is Queen Aminata has me going to the gym. So shout out to her Instagram because
yes, ma'am.
Jesus.
Yes, ma'am.
She's great. She is
indeed.
Great.
But yeah, what do you think is gonna that? I mean, obviously, women's wrestling talks. I'm always interested in the women's matches. What do you think is gonna happen with Queen Aminata and Mariah May? And here's the thing, Courtney. this is maybe a question that you can answer. We had, obviously, and I made reference to it, we had Queen Amanana and Athena in ROH. She didn't win. Athena's still champion. Do you think that was the right play? Do you think Queen Amanada should have been the champion? Because I think Athena, even though she's hitting, was it, did I say 651, 641, something like that?
641.
Could she do, do we need to see her in AEW? And I think we do. But what's your expert opinion on that?
It's always a treat seeing Queen Amanada on TV. I've seen her matches a few times on Collision and Rampage, and she does do that. I was actually excited to see her at All Out, where she came to the aid of her best friend, Sky Blue, because Mariah May was kind of intimidating her. So this is an opportunity for her to get some shine in. And also, I know she is facing Mariah May tonight, but although this could lead into opportunity of possibly doing like a rivalry because she did attack Sky Blue, and Sky Blue is close. I don't want to say close to being 100%, but she's almost there. So it's a possibility that I would like to see her versus Mariah May, because that would be an interesting one. And also giving shine to some women in the women's locker room. And even like for Queen Amanada to be on stage and be like, hey, I'm not going to be intimidated by you, Mariah May. Even though she's a champion, she took out Toni Storm. It would be great to see her get a rivalry because she has been doing a lot of good in the ring.
And then any matches in particular that you're looking forward to seeing tonight?
Outside of Moxley, I'm actually excited for Jack Perry and Leo Rush. That's going to be a really fun match. And also, I would not be shocked because this could give an opportunity for Jack Perry, because I would not be shocked if Jack Perry and the Elite kick the crap out of Top Flight. Because honestly, this is the thing, and I will say this in my watch along, but I'll say a little bit here. If they really want to take over the company, you better take over almost every tag team, every trios, every single one in AEW. If you really want to stay legit and take over AEW. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for the tag team Casino Gauntlet because that's going to be a fun one. And I'm curious on who's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be very fun because and it would be nice to give shine to a tag team to win that gauntlet because there is another tag team lurking against the Bucks.
Yeah, apparently the Casino Gauntlet, the tag team who wins gets to face the EVPs at Grand Slam.
Yep.
I honestly don't use anything, I don't usually say anything nice when it comes to anything Sammy Guevara, but in this case, I'm excited to see Sammy Guevara versus Ricochet. I think that's the match I'm looking forward to besides Mariah May and Queen Aminata. I do believe Mariah May has to look over her shoulder a little bit because I do think Toni Storm will be a lurking, maybe not so soon, but eventually. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Sammy Guevara and Ricochet because anything Ricochet, I'm always down to watch because he puts on stellar matches, and I'm excited to see how far he goes now that he's got his new contract and part of AEW.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I'm Gucci TK Rhodes.
I'm good.
Like, what do you want to talk about?
Oh goodness. All right. Well, there it is. With that being said, we'll start with you, Courtney. Where can everybody find you?
Everybody can find me on Twitter and Instagram on @CourtneyNJ11. As we mentioned earlier in the show, I will be doing a watch along for Dynamite tonight at 8 o'clock on TBS. I am very excited for the first one. We're going to have the fallout from All Out and all the matches that we advertise, so you can see me there. You can also see me here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Boom. And honey, where can everybody find you?
Yes, you guys can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays with the WWT Live Carew. Let's see, we got a Friday night, another Honey Night SmackDown watch along this Friday going on. We got 3 hours this time, so I hope you guys get your caffeine together and get ready to truck it with me for 3 hours, talking that great wrestling ish that you like, talking all things SmackDown. I smell some big surprises, and I said it earlier this week, but I'm gonna say it again. 3 hour SmackDown, and it's USA week with WWE. It smells like final boss vibes to me. I just can't help myself. I just smell something cooking, and it's real bossy. So I'm just really looking forward.
It's real bossy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just really, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to SmackDown. It's going to be so much fun. So make sure you guys stick around here on Friday after WWT Live. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Wrestling with Honey, Facebook, Wrestling W Honey, Instagram, Wrestling with Honey, and like and subscribe to YouTube, Wrestling with Honey podcast.
So I definitely want to shout out our sponsor. They just dropped their flyer. Fight for Paradise, which is going to be happening October 19th in the Bahamas. So you take a look at this flyer. So Mark Henry's going to be there. Alexis Gray, Kalia Capri, Maserati, Pope. There are some folks that are not on this flyer that are going to be there. It's going to be amazing. So if you can make your way to the Bahamas, you should definitely check that out. If not, you should definitely follow ACW on all their social media platforms, because they're going to be dropping a lot of different matches on there. So before we get out of here, definitely shout out ACW.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views, or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
And make sure you go and buy some merch.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen, not knowing what you want to do, like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like, literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That part. So make sure to check out all our live shows that are happening this week. So we have AEW Dynamite Live watch along tonight. Check out our SmackDown. We're going to have WoW. So a lot of good things happening with that. And make sure you can follow me. You can follow me everywhere at TK Trinidad. You can follow Women's Wrestling Talk on all social media platforms at wwtalkpod.com. I love in the chat, like it's a whole family, y'all discussing birthdays and all that stuff. I really love it. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat. Cousin Ron, our unofficial producer, Dylan, MDB 999, Jeffrey, Special Little Nobodies. I love a good birthday chatter. Bosa, our informational officer, Sindel. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. It does give me some AfterBuzz vibes. So I'm glad we're cultivating this wrestling community. We're massaging it forward. We're growing all the things. But with that being said, you guys want to, take a little break, get something to eat for like 30 minutes, and then hop back in to watch Courtney do her thing with the watch along. So give her a lot of love, because I am going to go to the gym because Queen Nana has inspired me again.
Hashtag NXT Bonnerfide.
Yes. And make sure, if you haven't already, definitely go and send Professor all the love with as many screenshots as possible of him being excited and all the things with the hashtag NXT Bonafide and also hashtag WWT, so we can see those as well. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
Howdy, folks. This is Willow Nightingale, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkPod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms. Like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk.